Hey there, it's David. Imagine with me for a moment that you're standing at a crossroads, which is symbolic for being in a place in your life where you have to make a decision. You have to decide which way to go, what you will do or what you will say. Oh, and making the choice to simply stay right where you are, not deciding, isn't a choice. At the crossroads, you have to decide which way you will go. If you go one way, you will find immediate relief. You will also possibly find some pleasure. At the very minimum, you will avoid pain. But it will mean that you will have to lie or compromise your integrity in some way, shape, or form. Go the other way, and you might suffer from immediate pain and possibly some embarrassment. But it will mean that you will stay true to yourself and preserve your integrity. Which choice will you make? Well, welcome to my normal number 3 on island hopping. Easy doesn't mean best, and the best is never easy. In this season of episodes, my goal is to introduce you to my normal, my perspectives that form the foundation of the journey to be. These normals that I will be introducing might be new to you, or they might agree with your normals, or they might challenge your normals. Whatever the case, my goal isn't to tell you that you should agree with my normals, for I have taken a vow to stop shoulding on myself and others. My goal is to simply expose you to my normal, so that you will better understand where I'm coming from. You will better understand why I believe what I believe. Thus, you will be able to make an informed decision as to whether or not you will invest your time into taking this journey with me. Well, having said all of that, I'm glad that you have taken the time to invest in your journey to be. If this is your first time listening to Island Hopping, I encourage you to go back to the episode entitled The Rules, for it's much better to start this journey from the beginning. Well, if you're still with me, let's go island hopping. We all love Cinderella stories. Sports teams, musicians, and businesses that seem to come out of nowhere and make it big. Winning the championship, releasing the #1 single, or making a fortune. We see this as the American dream where anyone from anywhere can have a goal and make it happen overnight. Which isn't totally true, but also isn't totally false. Yes, anyone from anywhere can make it big in America. But nothing happens overnight. The Cinderella story is never as overnight as we would want to believe. Behind every winning sports team, every hit song, and every business success is a whole bunch of blood, sweat, and tears, along with a whole bunch of time. Nobody simply has an idea today and becomes successful with that idea tomorrow. The reason this all appears to be overnight is the fact that none of us are able to see all of the time, the hard work, the failures, the disappointments, the missteps, the lessons, and the trials that have gone on in order to produce what appears to us to be an overnight success. They came out of nowhere, is our perspective, when in truth, they have been working and grinding and trying behind the scenes out of the public spotlight for a very long time. What seems like overnight to you and me is actually the culmination of years and in some cases a lifetime of trying. For nothing, no success, no triumph, no accomplishment ever comes easy. For if it did, it wouldn't be real, it wouldn't be impactful, and it wouldn't be transformational. This is precisely the reality, the truth, that prevents too many of us from ever going for it, whatever the it might be in our very own lives. For we believe, because of what we have experienced, what we have seen, our perspective, that success can and will be achieved overnight. Well, I'm here to tell you, you aren't a Cinderella story. You aren't an overnight success. The are that you are, who you are right here, right now, has taken your entire lifetime to create. Thus, your transformation into someone new isn't going to happen overnight. If you walk into the woods for 1 year, it will take you at least 1 year to walk out. And this illustration is the very reason why so many people never experience true transformation in their lives. It's just too hard. Well, if it was easy, then everyone would be doing it. I don't know who first told me this reality, but it has been a part of my normal for as long as I can remember. Finding the easy answer doesn't always mean that it's the best answer. I have found that in every aspect of life, the best answer is never easy. There is always a fear of consequences, or a fear of what others will think, even a fear of your own ability to actually carry out the right decision. When you stand at a crossroads in your life, that place where you must decide to go one way or the other, the wrong answer, the wrong direction, the wrong decision will always seem easier in the moment. It will always seem easier to lie in the moment. It will always seem easier to cheat in the moment. It will always seem easier to steal in the moment. It will always seem easier to run away in the moment. It will always seem easier to think you are worthless in the moment. It will always seem easier to gossip in the moment. It will always seem easier to covet in the moment. It will always seem easier to hurt someone in the moment. It will always seem easier to quit in the moment. Your journey is and forever will be filled with crossroad moments. In these moments, you will be forced to make quick decisions between what seems to be good and right and what is good and right. What will get you out of the immediate pain that you want to avoid, or what will open your life to the abundance that God has in store for you. In these moments, it's essential that you know who you are so that you can make an informed decision, a decision based on your identity and not on what will be easier in the moment. Yet, it's too late to decide who you are in those crossroad moments. You need to put in the work now to understand your identity, who you are, before you find yourself standing at the crossroads. For when you truly understand who you are, the easier it will be to make a good and right decision in the moment. In your crossroad moments, you will not be worried about being popular or networking or gaining some kind of worldly advantage or saving face or even avoiding pain. In those crossroad moments, all you will need to do is to simply be you. No pretending, no faking, no waffling. Just you being you, making a good and right crossroad decision. For your being, who you are, will always dictate your doing. For your doing is merely the living out of who you are, the living out of your being. Yet, if you don't know who you are when you are standing at the crossroads, you will fall victim to whatever fear, need, or desire that brings you immediate pleasure or helps you to avoid immediate pain. Which, by the way, sadly describes the identity of too many people today. Each and every single one of your crossroad moments will give you another opportunity to do what is good and what is right, as opposed to simply doing what is easy or what makes you feel good or what avoids pain in the moment. Doing what is good and what is right is not the easiest thing to do, especially if you haven't put in the work to define who you are. If you don't know who you are, your decision-making will be tainted by your need for the world and others in your world to define who you are. You will be so focused on your doing defining your being that you will miss the good and right truth of your being defining your doing. I guess we can say that in this case, who you are is someone who allows their doing to dictate their being, which is a very dangerous reality when it comes to crossroad decisions. For you will be too concerned with what others think about you, as opposed to you simply being you. You will want to fit in. You will want to be liked or even feared. Your being will be defined by your doing, as opposed to allowing your being to define your doing. Let me give you an example from my life. I don't know where it happened. I don't know who taught it to me. But for as long as I can remember, I have always defined extrovert with success, extrovert with being a winner, extrovert with being a leader. I believed, because I was taught somewhere, somehow, some way, that in order to be a winner, in order to be a leader, in order to be successful, you had to be an extrovert. Introverts cannot be leaders. They cannot be successful. They cannot be winners. And so I operated out of that untruth. And I operated out of that truth so much so that in my process for ministry, 2 different times with a 4-year gap in between, I had to go through a full battery of psychological evaluations, first for the Presbyterian Church and then for the Disciples of Christ. And those full battery of psychological evaluations, one of the areas that they looked into was, are you an introvert or an extrovert? Well, guess what? I scored on both of those inventories that I took 4 years apart. I scored out of the park when it came to extroverted characteristics. And the thing that was interesting is that I didn't think I was lying. I didn't think I was telling an untruth. I believed that's who I was because I believed that's who I needed to be in order to be a winner, to be successful, to be a leader, to be a pastor. I had to be an extrovert. Well, as I got into ministry, I started to encounter some things that challenged me in some ways. One of the things that I encountered was on a day like a Sunday where maybe I would get up, I'd go to church, I'd do a class, and then I would lead a worship service, and then we'd have a meeting after church, and then I would go to lunch with people. By the middle of the afternoon when I was coming home after all of that activity, I was whooped. I needed to take a nap. And I remember saying to myself, why am I so tired? And I started to think that maybe there was something wrong with my nutrition. Maybe I had to get more physical activity. Was there something wrong with me physically? I began to worry about that. Well, simultaneously, as this was happening, unbeknownst to me because I wasn't paying attention, there were other days during the week that were totally opposite than a Sunday. And that was a day when maybe I would spend it locked up in my office and I would be reading and studying and writing and planning. And I would be in that office for 8 hours straight, and I would come out of that office and I would be bouncing off the walls. I would be so energized because I just spent all that time in my office alone, reading and studying and writing and preparing. It never dawned on me that what my life was showing me, what the reality of how I was wired was that I was an introvert. Well, the problem is that I didn't want to claim to be an introvert because I believed someone taught me somewhere down the road. I learned that in order to be a winner, to be a success, to be a leader, you had to be an extrovert. And so I thought about those tests that I took 4 years apart, and how I scored so high in the extroverted scale. I realized that the reason why I scored so high is because I knew how to answer the questions in order to present myself as an extrovert. Not answering the questions because of who I was, but answering the questions based on who I believed I needed to be, believed the world wanted me to be. And that's a perfect example of why it's so important for you and I to understand who we are before we make it to the crossroads where we have to make a decision. For when I believed that I had to be an extrovert, I convinced myself I was an extrovert, even though my physical body was telling me that I wasn't. My physical body was getting exhausted every time I was socially interacting with other people, when I was leading a worship service or doing a Bible study or meeting with people. But yet I was energized and I was pumped up when I would spend hours upon hours reading and studying and writing and planning all by myself. I was an introvert, but I never allowed myself to be it because I didn't believe that's who I was supposed to be. The world, someone, somewhere, somehow had given me a different recipe, and I wasn't living into that. Well, because of this reality, there's a certain stick-to-itness that is required to successfully navigate crossroad decisions. This stick-to-itness requires a normal that understands that the best isn't easy. When standing at a crossroads, very often the good and right decision won't be the easiest decision. It won't be easy for you to be transformed from the inside out. It won't be easy to make changes in your life. It won't be easy to start a new career or move to a new town, go back to school, let go of that old habit, or speak the truth to yourself and to others, just to name a few. To top this all off, life is going to mess with you. For you are going to make decisions that you wholeheartedly believe are good and right. Decisions that are hard, but deep down you know they are the best decisions. Decisions that aren't based on what others think of you or will think of you. Decisions not based on fear or people-pleasing or peer pressure. You're going to stand at the crossroads and you're going to make what you believe is the good and right decision in your life because you know who you are. In spite of all of this, these decisions are going to cause you trouble and pain. Not trouble and pain because they are the wrong decisions, but trouble and pain because they are the good and right decisions. Trouble because the world, other people, and yes, your very own human nature doesn't want you to make the good and right decisions. For the wrong decisions will always seem easier in the moment because they will provide immediate relief, but they will also cause long-term problems. Conversely, the good and right decisions might cause immediate problems, but they will always cause long-term peace and relief. Because of this reality, you're going to want to give up making good and right decisions. At times, you will feel totally inept. You're going to feel like a failure. You're going to miss the way things used to be when you simply did what felt good in the moment. Damn the consequences. Your family and friends won't understand who you are and why you make the decisions that you do. Thus, many times, you will feel all alone. Your journey to be isn't going to be easy. Because if it was easy, then everyone would be doing it. Understanding this, your challenge then is to learn how to be leery of easy. Because easy leads to lazy, and lazy leads to complacency, and complacency leads to a loss of identity. Now, don't get me wrong. So many times we all fail. We all make wrong decisions at our crossroad moments. For none of us are perfect. The trick is to get better every day at catching yourself when you do make the wrong crossroad decision, a decision to take the easy way out. Instead of setting the unattainable personal goal of getting every crossroad decision right, set the attainable goal of taking one step away from your old you. Set the attainable goal of simply making your next right crossroad decision. Meaning, deciding based on who you are. Not based on what will get you out of trouble or give you instant gratification or make you popular or even feared. Don't continue to live as the old you who constantly made bad crossroad decisions and then had to live in it, with it, and through it for a very long time. The starting gun of transformation goes off whenever you realize that you need to be someone new. Basically, what I'm saying is this. You're standing at a crossroads right now. Don't be so lazy and complacent that you refuse to make the hard but right decision. Admit that you were wrong and change your course. God doesn't care that you made the wrong crossroad decision. God does care about why you made the wrong crossroad decision. Get real with yourself and with God and fess up to your mess up. Don't allow your laziness, your complacency, your fear or peer pressure and the like to come between who you are right now and who God has created you to be. You can be transformed because you can live into the reality that easy doesn't mean best, and the best is never easy. Well, there's a churchy word out there that speaks to this process of transformation. The churchy word is repentance. The definition of repentance is to turn around and head in the opposite direction. Island hopping will help you learn how to spot your bad decisions, claim your bad decisions, and then move above and beyond your bad decisions. Soon you will find that your last bad crossroad decision only took you one day to catch and correct. The time after that will only take a few hours, and so on until you get good at making the right crossroad decisions from the very beginning. Because you will learn how to make crossroad decisions based on who you are and nothing else. Does this mean that island hopping will guarantee that you'll never make another bad crossroad decision? No. But island hopping will help you discover who you are, who you have been created and gifted to be. And living into this understanding of your identity will enable you to consistently make good and right crossroad decisions. This truth won't make the consequences of your crossroad decisions any easier, Because, let's face it, you make so many crossroad decisions based on your desire to avoid immediate pain. And making the good and right decision at a crossroad is often very painful in the short term. Yet, making the good and right decision at the crossroad will always be better in the long run. Never forget that your life is a marathon, not a sprint. Yes, it's better to make the good and right decision now with some immediate pain and long-term gain than it is to make the wrong decision now with some immediate gain but long-term pain. For easy doesn't mean best, and the best is never easy. So, you find yourself standing at a crossroads right now. What will you do with what you just heard? Will you learn and grow? Or will you throw out the baby with the bathwater? Will you be open to a new kind of way? Will you be open to the possibility of making good and right decisions at the crossroads? The choice is up to you. And the choice you make will go a long way in helping you understand who you are right here, right now. Never forget that easy doesn't mean best, and the best is never easy. And transformation isn't easy. So, if you choose, we will be looking at my normal of the glass is half full on the next episode of Island Hopping.